What if I told you that a narrow stretch of water, just 21 miles wide at its tightest point, could crash economies, spark wars, and send your gas prices through the roof? Welcome to the Strait of Hormuz. This isn't just a regional flashpoint. It's the most important choke point in global trade, and right now, it's under threat. Hello, I'm Sarah, and this is the Economic Scope, where we break down the financial forces shaping your world. Hit that like button and let's dive into why the Strait of Hormuz could become the epicenter of the next global financial shock. First, a little history. The Strait of Hormuz sits between Iran to the north and Oman and the UAE to the south. It's the only sea passage from the Persian Gulf to the open ocean. This area has always been strategically important, from ancient spice trade routes to modern oil exports. In the 1980s, it saw tanker wars during the Iran-Iraq conflict. In 2019, Iran allegedly attacked several oil tankers, ramping up fears once again. This place is a pressure cooker, and every time it steams, the whole world feels it. But why should this matter to you? Let me put this into numbers. Around 20% of the world's oil and about a third of global LNG pass through the Strait of Hormuz every single day. That's over 20 million barrels of oil. If even a fraction of that is disrupted, global markets panic. Think about it. If you're in Jamaica, Kenya, India, anywhere importing oil, your fuel, food, and transport costs could jump overnight. The strait is narrow, with only a couple of shipping lanes. It's incredibly easy to disrupt. A drone, a mine, a missile, and suddenly, global energy trade is in chaos. Now, in 2025, this choke point is back in the headlines. The latest Israel-Iran conflict has intensified. Israel struck Iranian energy infrastructure, and Iran is retaliating. Iran has repeatedly threatened to block the strait, and if they act on that threat, it would be catastrophic. Oil prices have already surged. Some analysts report a 7 to 14% spike within days of the attacks. So the U.S. has repositioned naval forces in the Gulf. Britain deployed its own warships. Australia closed embassies in the region. And nuclear negotiations with Iran? Cancelled. The Strait of Hormuz is becoming the red line. Now you may ask, what's the real financial impact? Here's where the numbers get scary. A sustained disruption could push oil to $120 per barrel or higher. Every $10 jump in oil could raise inflation by 0.5% in many economies. Central banks that were planning to cut interest rates, they'll freeze. Inflation will keep rising, and that hits the poor hardest. Food gets more expensive. Transportation costs explode. Governments face budget shocks. Countries like Pakistan, Nigeria, or Jamaica, with heavy import bills and weak currencies, would suffer most. And don't forget investor behavior. Stock markets get jittery, currencies weaken. Investors flock to gold, the dollar, and U.S. bonds. And yes, like with all conflicts of this nature, there will be winners and losers. But who will be the winners and losers? The winners. Oil exporters like Saudi Arabia and the UAE that can ship oil through alternative pipelines. Defense contractors, gold investors. And the losers? Import-dependent developing nations. Shipping companies facing higher insurance costs. Consumers who can't afford gas or food. Even rice and grain exporters from Asia could suffer from disrupted routes and rising freight costs. The financial pain spreads fast. This conflict has wide geopolitical implications. One of the first right cheap of ARA plans. The U.S. Fifth Fleet is already active. Multinational coalitions like the International Maritime Security Construct are increasing patrols. If the conflict escalates, NATO could be pressured to respond. The strait could see permanent militarization, and that increases the chance of accidents or even direct conflict with Iran. But mentione geoes. And don't forget China. A large chunk of their oil flows through Hormuz. Any prolonged disruption could drag Beijing deeper into Gulf politics. Again, China prevents the indio. An AG found, doing here my take, Iran needs the Strait of Hormuz as much as the rest of the world does. Blocking it would be economic suicide. But the threat alone is enough to rattle markets. This isn't just about war, it's about the fragility of global trade. We're too dependent on a single waterway. Countries should invest in alternative supply chains, energy sources, and regional diplomacy. Developing nations? You need to build strategic reserves and tighten your fiscal belts, because when the strait shakes, you feel it first. But what should we be watching in the days ahead? Number 1. Will Iran mine the strait or attempt a naval blockade? Number 2. Will Israel or the U.S. launch preemptive strikes on Iranian naval assets? Number 3. Number 3, will OPEC's Pernaming step up production to stabilize prices, or will they play politics? Pernaming leverages with Optivol on Po Nastura led incorrect. The Strait of Hormuz is being tested. The world is watching. This narrow strip of water may be thousands of miles away, but it controls what you pay at the pump, at the supermarket, and for your electricity. That's why you need to stay informed. If you found this valuable, please like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to The Economic Scope for weekly breakdowns of global finance in plain English. Thanks for watching, and remember, when the Strait of Hormuz shakes, the whole world stumbles. Stay sharp, stay aware. See you in the next video.